All right. Nobody should watch this. I'm just gonna do some analysis. Now I have to not worry about anybody watching this. I basically just I want to be objective. I want to try to make some like right decisions, but it's hard to kind of tell like what's the right things to do right now, what's the wrong thing to do. Uh, all right, so I'm not going to worry about like making this video like make sense or anything like that. I'm just going to kind of think out my thoughts. One of the main things I want to figure out is like, should I take testosterone and HGH or shouldn't I take testosterone and HGH? All right, so let's just explore the pros and cons of that. What's going on? Just basically, I'm just going to think out loud. I'm just going to ramble for a while. Let me just ramble. Let me ramble for... All right, so what do I have to say? It's really hard to tell what is good. It's hard to kind of get down to some baseline of like, what is absolutely good? Like, what is good for one thing can be bad for another thing. And so it's kind of hard to... So I feel like I got to get down to some kind of like real baseline good. Is like, I think I basically have to say like, life is good. Life is good. Health is good. Death is bad. So let's start with that. And then fundamentals. Fundamentals is basically like, what is good? Let's get down to that. Most basics. Most basics. Fundamentals. Most basic goods. Life, not death. Health, not sickness. Connection, connected, connection to humans, not being alone. Mental, physical, socially, mentally, physically, socially active. By extension, helping others. Probably can help others more. Shelter, food, water. Agency. Freedom. Ability. All right, so we start from that. So I guess you could say like the opposites of those would be bad. All right, so what am I trying to figure out? I don't know, basically, long story short, I got a while to think about this. I'm not going to really do any workout today, but basically, I got a job. I'm getting a job offer. The job offer has some potential opportunities. Basically, what I'm trying to figure out in my head is it's really just, should I do steroids or not? That's pretty much it. Is like, should I do steroids? Now, in my head, I have this kind of silly idea that like, if I don't do steroids, I can be like young and beautiful in like some kind of female way. I don't know how to explain it, but back in the day, and even like recently, there's some kind of like kumbaya Enya feeling that if I just kind of like stay off steroids, I can be like effeminately beautiful. But I think, first of all, I don't think I was ever really that effeminately beautiful. And then also at 46, I think it's basically not possible. And I like this. There's this looks maxing thing that can basically say like, number one, you were never really like a great beauty. And then also number two, you're significantly out of the running for great beauty at this age. You can't really be like young and beautiful, top notch anyway. And so that's kind of like, you can't be prime anymore. Okay, so what's your point in saying that? Also, another thing is like at 40, after 40, it seems like really clear that like you can do more for others than you can for yourself. That's like really clear. So whatever path I choose, it would be good to like do some of that. And then also like you probably will have the ripple effect of whatever you do in your life over the next like 1,000 years will probably have more of an effect than anything you're doing in your lifetime. And so what's your point? That's something to notice, is basically like, think about the bigger picture, like what's kind of good for others. If you think about like what's good for others or what kind of effect you have on people, that could be even more that could be even more good. There's a lot more good to do there than in your little narrow selfish world, if you broaden your definition of good. All right, so what's your point, Sean? I don't know, basically that's really the only thing is like, okay, so this is kind of what I'm thinking is like, basically the past is gone, and so there's no more artist jobs. I have not been able to get an artist job for 10 years. Also, it never seems to be like a stable job. Basically, a long time ago, like 14 years ago, I had that stable artist job that was kind of like a career, but even then, it wasn't really that great. And then what? Just basically, I have this feeling like life really should be more important. But then, I don't know, what am I trying to say? Yeah, I never really figured that out. I never really figured out like, is like secluding my, just basically is doing art, is art like a good thing? Is it a positive thing? Yeah, it's my dream, but like if I'm just sitting in my room doing my dream and meanwhile like I could be helping people. And then also it could be done by machines. Basically that's something I was wrestling with like over the last 10 years is I start to think like, that's the devil. The devil's trying to lure you off your God-given path. He's laughing if you abandon art, that the devil lured you off your God-given path. You sold your soul. I basically think that's like superstitious thinking. And so, but I do have to admit that times that I did art did kind of feel like more beautiful or something. Anyway, it's hard to see things clearly. Dude, it's really hot in here. Anyway, I'm just trying to figure that out now. I'm trying to figure out like, how can I make the most of this time now? And then this job. It does seem like there were some positive things in the recent past. Basically over the last year, going to jiu-jitsu definitely seemed to made me a little better. Like it made life more beautiful. I felt better. I was more motivated. I was active. And then I was less wimpy. I did like social engagement easier. And then I was making eye contact with my dad, so it does seem like jujitsu did promote kind of like good stuff. Now, I keep flip-flopping in my head between like, is that stupid? If I'm doing that, aren't I just trying to be some imitation cool guy and trying to fix my weaknesses? And meanwhile, I'm never really getting any better at my weaknesses. Like, if I'm just trying to force a bunch of shit that's always kind of awful, or is it really good? I don't know. I think it's a little of both. I think I would never really be great at it. It would be good to just be like a more capable human being. But then I think to myself, well, how capable can you be? Like, when you're like an old person, do you just kind of generally become kind of isolated anyway? What do you think? I don't know, basically, like having a job, basically, it seems like being more capable. I have a big deficiency in the social engagement thing. I'm really scared of people. It would be good to overcome that, or at least get better at it if I could. And then it would be good to be able to be self-reliant. If suddenly my dad was gone, I don't want to be like jobless. And so it seems like I really should get a job. That's kind of like clear. And then it seems like this live streaming is definitely better than just being off grid. It seems like if I live stream, life is just doing this right now, just even being like active at all, mentally active, is better than just spacing out and like staring at YouTube or something. And so I'm thinking like, basically in my head, I'm kind of like thinking like let's just completely give up this art thing, or at least just do art on the weekend. What do we have now? Well, I've got live streaming, I've got my dad, I've got this jujitsu thing, but I'm also old, so I can't really go that far with jujitsu. But basically, if I thought this for a lot of my adult life, is basically, long story short, is like, if I could trade, if I could sell my soul, basically, I think that's some kind of superstitious thing. I think that like, there's probably no soul. And then like, I think that there's something where it's like, you get stuck, you get like chained to your past. And there's this thing about like, you have these like stories in your head about like who you are, what your purpose is. It felt good to sort of like shed that and just be like, whatever. It's like, it's 2026, you're 46 years old right now. Wake up. Like, what's here now? What's in the past? I think basically being young and prime and beautiful, or being able to like, I don't think I was ever really beautiful. I think I basically have to admit that. Is like, I was always kind of like a goofy guy, or kind of like, I was never really that great. And I was never really a great beauty. I like this like looks maxing thing because I can put my actual photos from when I was in my 20s, and it kind of says like, yeah, you were never really like that great. You were like, you were at your best, you were maybe like a 7 out of 10. And then now you're like a 5 or a 6. And so it's like, okay. And so, and you're going to get older, not younger. And so you got to sort of, that's a hard fact of life, but that's a fact you have to get used to. And so it seems like, yeah, that's true. So now it's kind of increasingly more about like, just be healthy and enjoy your life. And you can't go back to 20 something. Okay, I got it. Now, if I take a little testosterone and HGH, it definitely does make me a little better at jiu-jitsu, which as basically a deteriorated person could be good now. Maybe it wasn't good in my 30s. Maybe it wasn't good in my 20s. But maybe as a 46-year-old decaying person, maybe it's kind of like the lesser of two evils. It's like, it's not optimal, but it's kind of like aging isn't optimal either. So maybe it's kind of like, I do have to admit, it seems like there's pros and cons. And so I do have to acknowledge that like during the last like 7 months that I've taken HGH and testosterone, it was kind of like dark times. Not totally dark, but like it's kind of chemically and but I did do better at jiu-jitsu, and so it would be good to do jiu-jitsu still. Whatever's going to make me kind of stay in jiu-jitsu would be kind of like nice. Jiu-jitsu was not really what I planned though. It wasn't like, when I was in my 20s and 30s, I wanted to be a game artist at 2K Games or Lucasfilm or something, but like now Lucas is mostly like I think it's not even a company anymore, or now it's like owned by Disney or something. So shit changes. And I've been applying to jobs for it for like 10 years and haven't really gotten any real jobs. And so I think it's time to like cut that loose. Plus, it's just, I don't want to do it for free in my room. I've already done that for a long time. So basically, it doesn't seem like sitting in my room and doing art for no money is kind of like something I want to do anymore. Therapy. I think going to a therapist is probably good. I don't know. That's kind of what I think is. I think just being a little. Basically, it used to be good to try to be like an optimal person, going all in on my strengths and pursuing my artist dream. At this age now, it's like wake up. Dad could like disappear. We need like a stable job, and I just need to basically like not be like socially crippled. It just seems like just being. I'm really deficient in like the social like confrontation area, and so it just seems like even though I'm naturally like that's kind of like wasting time on your weaknesses. Just being like able to like look at people and listen to what they say and communicate would kind of like just not being able to do that would be like such a bad disadvantage that if I could just be like crappy but okay at that, that seems like it probably would make for like a better future. And there's something where it's like kind of everything is going to be like a little crappy at this age onward. And so I don't know, those are my general thoughts. Is basically like contributing to some other people would be good, trying to have like a better effect. Live streaming, basically live streaming all day every day seems to be good. Not abandoning my dogs and not abandoning dad seems good. It seems like unrealistic expectations about turning back the clock are bad. And so I don't know, that's all I've really figured out so far. Is like job is definitely good. Job, keeping a job, good. Other than that, I don't really know. Working out seems good. That's it. I don't know. I don't really know. A lot of other things I don't really. What was good? What was good over the last few years? Live streaming, jujitsu, running with my dogs in the hills is pretty great. I don't know if improv acting was good. I don't know if Omi chat was good. It's kind of fun. It's kind of fun. It doesn't seem like it gets anywhere. And I think basically having anything in my head that says like this is a waste of time unless it leads to pussy is kind of like a stupid idea. I think I should basically say pussy's probably gone forever. Also, I'm not even really sure that I could maintain a pussy. I couldn't. I'm not sure I could like carry some other person. And so I would like to be more capable. And if I can, I would like to, as a guy headed towards my 50s, I would like to contribute to some not me stuff that's going to get better. I think if I look outside of myself for some things to make better that are not me, that'll be like a better, I can do like more good on some not me stuff than I can for myself. And so, and then using a video to do that seems like a good thing. And then just live streaming is like really accountable. Like I got a lot of bang for my buck from the live streaming thing. If I can live stream all day, every day, and I can kind of like grind. I'm really good at that. I'm really good at grinding and just being like, what's working, what's not working. Let's stay the course. And then there's some like little thing in my head that's like almost like a superstitious thing. There's a superstitious idea that like that's the devil. The devil lured you off your God-given path. You were supposed to be a game artist, and if you try to like just work out and do jujitsu, you're an imitation cool guy, and you're gonna have a bad effect on others because you're gonna get some like perfectly good programmers or like nerds to try to abandon their nerd thing and try to be some imitation cool guy when really they'd probably be like a great nerd. And so, what do you think? I don't really know. I think that's kind of a. I definitely worry about that, and I don't know. I don't know if that's superstitious or not. Uh, anyway, nobody's out there. I don't know. I'm in a very confused point. Nobody's out there. Uh, I think the right thing to do basically is to do everything except the steroids. If I had to bet on it, I'd say like, dude, I don't fucking know. No, I'd say like do jujitsu and take judo, but just use it as a way to like confront people. Don't count on like your job is not going to be like a you're not going to be like a bouncer or like a but steroids does kind of make me like a little more brave. It does make me like a little less. I do have kind of like a wimpiness and kind of like some kind of like semi-gay thing that like happens if I don't take testosterone. If I take testosterone, it's kind of like artificial balls and like no like wimp out gay. Yeah, I don't really know. I do know that it's pretty much always dark times though. It's like this shitty chemically feeling. So just in terms of like my inner experience, it's worse on steroids. So maybe steroids is bad. Yeah, let's say that. Let's just say that like I should probably do. Dude, I don't fucking know. I don't really know if the steroids is good or bad. That's the main thing. I don't know if testosterone and HGH is like good or bad. But I think work is good, job is good, social connection is good, trying to grow is probably good, working out is good, mentally, physically, socially fit is good, live streaming all day is good. It would be great to just live stream at work. That would be like really great. Is like go to the job, have like a body cam, and just be like, I'm gonna try to like face people and like make sure I want to stay like socially fit. That's something I'd really love to do, is just basically use my job to be like, look, and then just say that, yeah, it's all forced. Basically, I want to do that, is basically say like, from now on, like everything I do is forced. I'm like a mechanical person a little bit, in the sense of like, I want to rely on like live stream, and then just live stream all day every day, and just force myself to do a bunch of shit that I should do, and just be like, yeah, whatever, it's all forced. Like I don't naturally really feel like doing anything anymore, and so let's just do that. Let's just do yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking, is like, forget I think no testosterone, no dermal filler, or no testosterone, no HGH, but workout, dermal filler, Botox, get a job, help dad, take out the dogs, become self-reliant, try to have a good relationship with your brother if he wants to relate, probably avoid his daughter, avoid any, I don't know, try to have a interaction with mom, help dad. That's pretty much it. And then contribute to like somebody, like people in Africa or something like that. If I get a motorcycle, be careful. I do feel like a phony though. I really do kind of, I love motorcycles and I love jujitsu, but really I feel like I'm like a skinny kind of nerd faker. But I did win 2 gold medals. And so anyway, that's kind of where I'm at. Tell you what though, if I really wanted to do like social and physical stuff more, which seems like it would be good, I really should take Adderall. Adderall is like not natural, and it does seem kind of like dark times, but it does make for like better social physical stuff. Is so, and just basically being like an older person, I wonder basically if just like the future is going to be better on testosterone, HGH, and possibly Adderall. Because like if I take Adderall, I'm much more social. I'm much more like, when somebody talks to me, I'm like, got it. And then I just start naturally responding. But if I don't take Adderall, I'm all like spacey. And so I wonder basically if I should just think of myself from now on as basically a defective and increasingly deteriorated person that like needs a boost. I need like a little boost of like testosterone plus Adderall. Now, just for the record, every time I've ever taken testosterone, it's usually kind of dark, shitty times. And then it's usually not sustainable. It's kind of like I'm puffed up with this fake shit, and then eventually I stop taking the fake shit and it all kind of falls away. I'm like presenting a fake person, and then yeah, basically every time I've ever done that, it's not sustainable, and then it's usually kind of dark times. And people, it's kind of weird. It's like, what the fuck? So basically I'm thinking like, if I can do it without the testosterone and Adderall, that would be better. I was like, that's kind of what I should do. Off the top of my head, that's what I think. That's what my conscience says. My conscience says, yes, job, jiu-jitsu, judo, if you can do judo without getting injured, and social workouts. Try to stay mentally, physically, and socially fit, but do it as like a skinny, natural guy. That seems like the best thing. And if I just say that, it kind of feels good. So I'm just going to write that down. I'm just going to say, I don't know, just, yeah, just, no steroids. There's infant levels. No steroids, but job, mental, physical, social, fitness. Live stream all day. Workouts. That's what I think. That's kind of what I think is probably the best. Is like, just because like, steroids was always dark times, unsustainable, shitty life. Yeah, that's kind of like, it really was. It's kind of like, so basically I should just kind of like, it just the passage of time was awful. Yeah, and then probably bad influence on others. Start considering ripple effect. More good. Yeah. Okay, so that's kind of my final answer. I've thought about this a lot. I don't need to necessarily talk to my brother, but what do I do? So yeah, just this job could be like, could make like just a live stream all day, every day. Go to Ralph Gracie. Do judo and jiu-jitsu just as engagement. Yeah, it just seems like being connected and confronting people would be like a good thing to do. Just remember, like, I need some kind of boost, cheap trick. But not drugs, because bloat. Competing in your age, weight. Yeah, it's like, even if I take steroids, it's just like, actually being really skinny is kind of good competitively, because if I go to like I'll probably go to a tournament every, God, that next tournament is already in 2 months. Yeah, I'll probably go to another tournament, and if I go to a tournament, I'll do way better in like a skinny category. Life is really better if I'm in like a skinny category. I'm not really sure why, but like, basically, it seems like life is kind of better if I'm some old skinny guy, because then it's like, hey, you're good for like an old skinny guy. And just also my inner experience is like way better. Is that really true? Well, all I have to do is like I just have to think about the last like 8 months. Is like the last 8 months were pretty awful. Except I was better at jiu-jitsu. If I take testosterone and HGH, I beat harder opponents at jiu-jitsu for sure. But everything else about the last 8 months was just dog shit. Just everything was all toxic and shitty, and just like it's not some period of time that I would want to repeat. And it seems like there's a lot of mood fluctuations that make for some really bad human interactions. And so I'm just going to go ahead and say that, like, every time in my life that I've been off steroids for a year, it gets better. It becomes like a beautiful time, and it's better. But the steroids do give you like a little boost in some areas. Anyway, all right. So what do we think? Yeah, that's kind of what I think is like. So if I live stream all day, I should really try to fix computer so it doesn't crash. Important. Brain works better off steroids, for sure. That's yeah. Okay. All right. So that's the path, but anyway, this job that I'm going to, the nature of the job is like I have to say no to like people, and so you're kind of like it sound I don't really know. I have to see what the job's like, but it sounds like you're supposed to be some kind of like enforcer person. Like they're saying like it would be good for you to like work out because you have to seem like intimidating or something like that. Now on the flip side of that, like what am I trying to say? There's like a thing where I could imagine like, oh, like I could like take steroids and I could be like, no, like I could be like some kind of like bouncer type person, but I wouldn't make a good version of that. And what do I think? I don't think that's necessary at like this place. This place that I'm going to, it's basically like Goodwill. It's a Goodwill store. You don't have to like be like a enforcer person. And so I wouldn't make a good enforcer anyway. I don't really know though. Maybe I could. Maybe if I got on steroids at like 46, I could be some enforcer type person. I don't know. We'll see. I don't think so though. But I think like that job, I can do it fine just by basically. I think as long as I go to jiu-jitsu, I don't know. I have to see the job, but basically, it seems like probably better to not do that, and then also probably could do the job the same. You know, I'm not having to like break people's skulls or something. Probably could do the same job fine off steroids, but I think I would like to push on my deficit in like social interaction. I'd kind of like to do that for just the rest of my life, is basically just go like, whatever, the past is gone, art is gone, let's just try to like not be socially crippled, isolated, sedentary. Let's just try to stay mentally, physically, socially active, and just assume that those are going to naturally sort of like decrease over time, and try to just keep them better than they would be otherwise, because it seems like quality of life will be better, and then try to have like some kind of positive effect along the way, and just eventually I'll be dead. And so yeah, that seems like probably the best thing. That's what I think. Do I think I can do jiu-jitsu? Do I think I can do jiu-jitsu off steroids till into my 50s? Yeah, but I just have to pick my training partners. And again, even if I get on steroids, I still can't deal with way bigger, stronger people anyway. There's kind of like infinite levels no matter what. But I think just being willing to like confront, again, I'm not going to have to like test myself to the physical limit with some person in some life or death situation. I just have to be like, I have to be like pushing and like trying shit. It's just try to be willing to confront, willing to do eye contact, willing to engage. You don't necessarily have to beat them in a mortal struggle. Yeah. I could get a lot better just basically just trying to go to. So I should go to therapy. I should go to therapy to practice eye contact, get outside more objective opinion. Yeah, that sounds all very good. That feels good. It's basically, I think no steroids, live stream. If I wanted to make the right decisions now, just because basically every time I've ever done steroids, it's usually dark times. Although steroids sort of did get me into jiu-jitsu. It's kind of like it's a good sort of boost. But basically it's usually like dark times. Yeah, it's always dark times. But it does make you better at jiu-jitsu, that's for sure. Um, yeah, that's my conclusion. Is basically like no steroids. It would be. I want to live stream all day every day. That's gonna be really awesome. I love the live streaming all day every day. Even out in the world is like great. Is with my dogs, everything like that. So like if nothing else, I really could just I could just stick this on my chest. Really, is I could just have like a really I could just have a get the point, Sean. I could just have this like if nothing else, I could have this strapped to my chest every day. I would love to do something like this. Strapped to my chest every day, and then just like have like a little button. Yeah, just have like a little button on my shirt that just basically like is actually a lens. just like that. Anyway, so there's a lot of options for that. That would work right there. Yeah, my phone already has a wide angle thing, and so really I could just get that. They don't like it. Anyway, but I got the job kind of, so let's just focus on keeping the job first. Let's go back to Ralph Gracie. Let's keep working out. I'm gonna keep working out, and then just try to stay mentally, physically, socially fit. Stay off drugs. Get dermal filler, Botox. Try to help some people in Africa. That's kind of a good plan. Yeah. It's better than just sitting around too. Like, if nothing else, it's just kind of like, it doesn't seem like doing art in my room is really good anymore. Maybe doing like artificial intelligence art on the weekends or something. But I can't really. I should really explore AI art, and then I shouldn't just sit around and do drawing and painting and like sculpting anymore. It's too fucking like. It's too obsolete and too time consuming. It's just there's no fucking jobs anymore. Too much for too little. And I would imagine that doing any kind of like I do worry, like I worry about like having like a bad effect on people. I worry that I'm gonna like inspire some nerd to like be like, fuck this nerd stuff. I'm gonna be physically, mentally, and socially fit. But I don't think that's gonna happen. But also like, hey, I want to live stream like all day every day, and I worry that I'm gonna have a bad effect on some nerd who's like really good at like chemistry or some like programming or something, and then they're gonna think I should give this up and just lift weights and try to take to jujitsu and do social workouts because I worry that that's kind of a trap and a waste of time. That like a lot of perfectly good nerds get lured off their path to be some imitation cool guy, and then they do their social, basically trying to fix their weaknesses, is usually like it doesn't really get them anywhere. Is that true, or is it kind of true that basically like the best thing to do is like not quit your day job, but then like if you're wondering like what's something generally positive to show on video to affect anybody, would be like generally can't go wrong with like doing a little social engagement, even if it's just for 10 minutes, and then a little working out. Like those are somewhat like universal, probably good for anybody, even the nerd, as long as they don't quit their day job. You should kind of regularly say like don't quit your strength. Is imitation cool guy trap? You hit on a very classic, very real trap. The idea that a skilled, highly focused specialist, whether in programming, chemistry, or another deep field technician, should abandon their craft to chase a generic cool guy archetype, lifting, martial arts, hyper-socializing. It's often a massive negative for them. Yeah, that's what I think too. Here's the breakdown of why your concern is valid and how to balance it on live stream, and why don't quit your strength is a great rule of thumb. Is the limitation cool guy trap real? Yes, absolutely. When someone is naturally wired for deep, solitary, technical problem solving, tries to radically pivot into becoming a social butterfly or an aggressive fitness enthusiast just to fix an insecurity, a few things usually happen. Loss of flow state, high-level programming and chemistry require massive, uninterrupted blocks of deep focus. Trading those hours for constant social jockeying destroys the exact cognitive edge that makes them valuable. That's kind of what I think is going to happen if I go to this job. It's just going to be like, you're not doing the thing that makes you good, which is like focused artistic work. That's kind of like my main thing. But there's no fucking jobs for it anymore. I've been applying to jobs for like 10 years. I can't justify it anymore. Chasing someone else's metric. If a brilliant coder drops their project just to become a mediocre jiu-jitsu person, or because they feel socially inadequate, they haven't improved. They've just traded a unique superpower for a very common average skill set. That's what I think too. The trap. The trap is thinking that fixing a perceived social or physical weakness is more important than doubling on your strengths. For a core nerd, their brain is their primary engine. Yeah. Yeah, so I'll just say that. I'll just say like, well, I don't know. You should stick to your thing, but like in my case, there's no fucking jobs anymore. And I'm tired of sitting in this room not making any money. The balanced view, don't quit your day job or your strength. Your instinct is spot on. The best approach isn't an all or nothing conversion. It's supplemental maintenance, not a career or identity overhaul. Double down on your strengths. A brilliant coder primary contribution to the world and their own fulfillment is usually code, creation, and problem solving. Protecting that core focus is priority number one. Physical health is maintenance, not identity. You don't need to become a competitive grappler or a gym rat to be healthy. Moving your body, walking the dog, or doing a basic calisthenics circuit is just maintenance. Keeping the machine running so you can sit at the desk longer without your back hurting. Golden rule, don't quit your strength. Use physical activity and brief social touch points to support your technical work, not to replace it. What to model on video safely for viewers. If you are streaming all day and you want to project something genuinely positive that won't lead viewers down a destructive path of abandoning their craft, keep it grounded and balanced. Show the integration. Let people see that you can write a code, build 3D assets. Yeah, the main problem is just like I have been unable to get a job in anything related to art, even like basic Photoshop stuff, video editing, any like 3D modeling. I've been applying to those kind of artist type jobs that I'm naturally suited at for so many years, and it's never gotten me like a full-time job. It hasn't got me like a real job that's like full-time sustainable job. It's always been some like contract undoable thing that's not steady. It's just like some like little gig thing that's underpaid. I haven't gotten a real job in it for basically like 14 years, and it seems like increasingly there's less jobs, and I don't know. So basically I've done art in my room for no money for a long time. Now there's all this like things falling apart and need for money. I can't justify sitting in this room anymore. It's like I need to have a job now. So since I haven't been able to get an artist job or anything like an artist job, and there's this non-artist job that's being offered to me, I'm going to take the non-artist job because like I can't not have a job anymore. I don't know what to do. It's completely understandable that you're feeling that way. Facing reality, like the after years of putting in work, is heavy. When you spend over a decade trying to break into a field you love, honing your skills in 3D modeling, Photoshop, and digital art, and the market only shows you unstable, underpaid scraps your way, it stops feeling like you're paying your dues and starts feeling like a dead end. At a certain point, the math of living stops working, and you have to prioritize stability over a dream that isn't paying the rent. Taking a non-artist job when you need financial security doesn't mean you failed. It means you are being realistic about survival. Rent, food. So basically, don't you think I'm right that like now at like 46, my dad could die at any moment. He's not even promising to give me any inheritance at all. And meanwhile, like I'm physically kind of like falling apart, and there's some ways that I could mitigate that with a job. I want some dermal filler and Botox. I love that shit. And then I don't expect to become beautiful, but if it can put me up one notch on the looking thing, that would definitely be the most gratifying improvement I could make for myself. And then maybe I could help some other people too. And it would be good to just basically be able to be self-reliant if I don't have my dad anymore or his support. And so don't you think that's the right thing to do, even if it's a non-artist job? I mean, yeah, it's social and physical, but it's like, I don't know, there's no digital artist jobs that have hired me for like a really long time. I don't know, I've applied to thousands of them, literally. There's no offers. You're completely right on every single count. Okay. So then the last question is steroids. So basically I know that like I've done this before. I've tried to like go and like compensate for my weaknesses and go work at like Home Depot and do like physical social stuff. It never really gets great, and it does feel like I'm kind of squandering my strengths. Anyway, so same thing. It's like I don't expect, but at this point it seems better than like staying in my room. And so I don't know. I've been debating upon whether or not I should take steroids. Every time I've ever taken steroids, testosterone from like a street dealer, it's like dark times. It feels like this awful sort of chemically thing. The world gets so dark. The passage of time is like all like shitty and wretched and dark, and I feel all chemically and awful. And basically, yeah, just the passage of time is all shitty. And then like the only kind of pretty times that seemed like times I would want to repeat over the last like 5 or 10 years have been like off steroids. And so but testosterone and HGH, it makes me way stronger and better at jiu-jitsu. I can beat harder people and I can wrestle heavy guys. But since I don't really have to do that in real life, I think basically the better thing is to just work out, stay fit, and just don't wrestle big heavy guys, and just use jiu-jitsu as a way to stay engaged and connected with humans, so I don't become some agoraphobic shut-in type person. But basically just realize that I'm 46, I'm skinny, I'm not naturally inclined towards it. And so just use it as a way to basically not become like an agoraphobic shut-in person and be able to become self-reliant and like capable of keeping a job, because I'm so shy and weak in like dealing with people that it basically is making me like incapable of doing a job. It would be cool to just be good enough to be able to like look at people and like understand what they're saying and like talk to them without staring at my foot the whole time. All right, so it's spot on. When you look at the actual lived at, anyway, so that's my plan. All right, we said it over and over. All right, so anyway, that's my final answer. I don't need to talk to my brother. Fuck him. If he doesn't want to talk, fuck him. I don't need him. Yeah, I figured this out on my own. It was like, no steroids. I'm just going to stay off steroids. I'm going to try to keep the job. I'm going to go back to jiu-jitsu. I'm going to try to work out every day. Except today. I'm kind of like taking the day off. And then I'm just going to try to live stream every day. And then try to fix my computer so it doesn't freeze. Go to Ralph Gracie again. But don't expect anything. Don't expect to excel a lot at 46. Just as social engagement, connection, fired up. It's just fun too. It's just I do feel kind of good just going to that place. But main thing is like I just want to look good for my age and potentially have like a girlfriend. That would basically I just want to be like socially competent and not like just freaked out. I don't want the world to just basically say, shut the fuck up and die alone at that screen. Yeah, that's basically it's just you kind of just want to avoid shut the fuck up and die alone at that screen. Avoid being an agoraphobic shut-in. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Is basically like at this age now, it's kind of like the past is gone, and now it just seems like at this age, with given how naturally shy I am, and how like many issues I have, I'm basically on the precipice of just becoming some like dead guy in my room until I'm dead. And so just to basically stay connected, I think just forcing some kind of social interaction is probably good. But it's not going to be natural. It's going to be like this forced shit. Yeah, everything I'm saying here is like, this is all correct. And so that's it. That's my little session. Nobody's really out there. Nobody's out there.